What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Blue Chip Prospect for another video slash podcast. Today, we are going through my first top 32 of the year. I usually try to keep it at 16 until we get closer to the draft because, well, I like to be as accurate and as sure as I can when I talk about players, so it's impossible for me to have a real educated opinion on 32 players by January or something like that. Some of those players I would have watched like one or two times, and it's hard to build a solid opinion based on that, right? But I did some overtime this season, and I feel ready for my first top 32, for which I've seen all players multiple times and some through one, two, or even three seasons in the case of players like Michael Misa. But anyways, that's enough chit chat. We got plenty of chit chat to do today, so let's get into this. Oh, by the way, as usual, please take the time to like and subscribe if you're on YouTube and you like this type of content, if that's kind of your jam. And if you're on another platform like Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Pocket Casts or whatever it is, do whatever that platform allows you to do. But anyway, let's start this right now. So at number one, we start this and we got like two players we could have at number one, right? We could have a player like Michael Misa, like we could have a player like Matthew Schaefer. They're obviously they play two different positions. One is a left shot D, and the other one is a center that projects like a center also. So it's not like a guy that would maybe play on the wing or something like that. I think Michael Misa, it's pretty a sure shot to be a center in the NHL. But Matthew Schaefer is a defenseman that he's a bit in the mold of a Miro Heiskanen. I know a lot of people say like he's a Dahlin or something like that. I don't see it that way. I think the offense is not as dynamic as a player like Rasmus Dahlin. I think he's more like a Miro Iskanen. A player is going to use his skating a ton to create offense and can really take over a game but with his skating, transitioning the puck with ease from the defense to the offense, just being extremely efficient, extremely good all over the ice. A player like Michael Misa is a player that also works really hard, as good defensively, good offensively, but I don't think he has the same dynamism in his game as Matthew Schaefer. And I also think that it's harder to get a player like Matthew Schaefer, a guy that has size, that has skating, that has elite defense, that has elite offense, and that can put it all together and become a number one defenseman. I think it's just harder to get that type of player than to get a player like Michael Misa. Obviously, it's early to say this. It's early to decide what the ceiling of those players is going to be. It's just like projection. But the way I see it, I feel like Matthew Schaefer has a little edge, but definitely Michael Misa has moved up and has closed a little bit on that gap with Matthew Schaefer. But I'm still going to go with Matthew Schaefer at number one here and Michael Misa at number two here. All right. So now if you go to number three, there's a couple ways we could go with that. Obviously, there's players like Porter Marton. Most people would have him in their top three. There's players like Anton Frondel that since he started doing a lot of like putting up a lot of points on the board in the Allsvenskan, a lot of people have moved him up. Personally, I'm not there yet. I don't think he's a top three. He's probably not even a top five player right now. He's definitely top 10, but I don't think he's top five right now. And I think one of the player that has a chance to be a first line center that is really responsible defensively, can put the puck in the net, can create play, can be the playmaker, can be the driver, can go get the puck deep in the zone, that can play behind the goal line, that can play in the slot, that can play in the middle of the ice. It's a guy called Caleb Denoyer. He's my guy at number three for now. I think he's too complete as a player to not take him. Like if you take, let's say a lot of people like Frondel, like I was saying, right? But the difference with Denoyer and Frondel is that Denoyer is a better playmaker than Anton Frondel. I don't think he doesn't have the same shot whatsoever, but I think he's even better defensively. I think he's more competitive also. He's not as good a skater, or like maybe a little bit behind Frondel, even though like Frondel is not the top skater in the draft or anything like that. It's not that great. But Caleb Denoyer is just more well-rounded. Like Frondel is a shooter and a guy that can play on both sides of the puck. But Denoyer is not only a shooter. Yes, he can shoot the puck, but he's also a playmaker. He's also a guy that can play on both sides of the puck very, very effectively. I think he projects as a very, very good, at least number two center, maybe first line center. It's just that in this draft, there's a significant drop after Matthew Schaefer and Michael Misa. So there you go with whatever you prefer. And I think that in that case, I would go with Caleb Desnoyers at number 3. And then we would follow this up with probably Porter Martin. Because, like, if there's one player who deserves to be in this top 3, it's probably Porter Martin. But the fact that he's not a center, he's a winger. The fact that Caleb Desnoyers is just like 1 inch smaller. So it's not like there's a big difference in terms of size. Yes, the frame is not as big, but he's not tiny compared to Martin, but he's also maybe doesn't have the same like roughness in his game, but he's more well-rounded. But Martin definitely, I think on the offensive side, has more to give. Even though Caleb Desnoyers had a good season production-wise, I think that Porter Martin, like, his offensive IQ, the way he thinks the game, even though he's not like the greatest skater, he doesn't have a ton of pace in his game all the time. The way he thinks the game and the speed at which he can think the game and make decision and make the right play is phenomenal. Like, I know, like, a lot of people are dropping him for some reason. For me, I'm not there. I feel like he's a player that deserves to be in the top 3. But if I was a team picking, maybe I would go with a player that's a little bit less dynamic offensively, but has a lot to give defensively and being a center. That's why I have Caleb Desnoyers at number 3. But Porter Martin definitely deserves to be in that top 3 because of the skill and the IQ and the package and the size and everything. But he falls to number 4, which is good. All right. And then we go to the next one. The next one is a little bit of a surprise, but it's a player that I've been consistently, like, growing up. No, not growing up, but a player that kept moving up my list consistently, that I liked a lot last season and that I liked a lot at the beginning of the season, even though he had a bit of a rough start. But now he's been on fire, almost 100 points. He's one of the best playmaker and best passer in the entire draft. No questions asked about it. Sorry, I have a problem with my pronunciation sometimes. And that guy is Jake O'Brien. Where is Jake O'Brien in there? We're just gonna go here. O'Brien. Let's go. So Jake O'Brien at number 5. I know it's a little bit out of the left field, but it's the way I see it. I just really, really like his skill set. I really like the toolkit. I really love, like, here they say he's 6 foot, but the reality is that Jake O'Brien is more like 6'2". He's not 6 foot. So he's big. He skates well enough. Not like a great skater. Maybe like Caleb Desnoyers, maybe a little touch over Caleb Desnoyers. But in terms of passing skills and manipulation, deceptiveness with the puck, like, there's no equal to Jake O'Brien in this draft. Like, he's just so good and so precise with the puck on his stick, so precise when it comes to threading the needle through shins and through pads and through sticks. He can really, like, thread the needle, like I said. But it's not just that. He has a very, very good shot. And because he's so deceptive with the puck on his stick, because the defense can never know what he's going to do, and because he changes his mind like 20 times in the puck possession, like, it's so deceptive for the defense that he has one of the best scoring percentage in the OHL, while also being one of the best playmaker in the entire draft. So, and then we're talking about a center, and we're talking about a center with size, and a center that has great IQ, that has decent skating. Like, what else do you want? If a team like Anaheim would take Beckett Seneca last year at number 3, when everybody was seeing him maybe like 6, 7, 8, maybe even some people were seeing him out of the top 10, like me. Well, I think then Jake O'Brien deserved his spot in the top 5. He put everything together. He's put the production, he has the size, he has the skating, he has the shot, he has the manipulation, he has the passing skills, he has the compete. The guy, he tracks back on defense. He does everything that he has to do. Obviously, there's work to do on taking decision faster. I think that's one of the problems. He likes to slow the game down a lot to create his offense, take his time, look at everything around him, find a way to thread the needle, like I said. But this is something that you can work on. When you have so much to work with, I think it's like, if you have only that to work on, I think it's okay. I don't have a problem with that. So, Jake O'Brien at number 5, and then we jump to number 6, and that number 6 is going to be finally James Higgins. And I don't know where Higgins here. Oh yeah, he's right there. So at number 6, James Higgins. Personally, I've been disappointed basically every time that I've watched him. So it's like he's at number 6 because of the pedigree of James Higgins, because of what he was doing last season and what he did at the U18s last season. It's more last season made him a top 6 player this season, because this season doesn't make him a top 6 player in my opinion. Uh, there were some games where he created a lot of offense, but nothing came out of it, unfortunately. So the points, like I don't think the points really represent how good he was at some point, but there's also some times where he was basically doing nothing and he came out of the game with an assist or something like that. So I'm just not a fan anymore. I might live to regret it. Maybe next year he explodes and like he end up being a top 3 player in this draft. But right now, at this time, after watching him all season, watching him live, watching him not live also, obviously, it's just I've been disappointed basically all season. And he doesn't have like, it's not like he has a big attribute, like he doesn't have the big size or anything like that. He's a smaller player who's competitive, good skater, very good skater, that has very good hands, very good IQ. Like he's going to be productive in the NHL. It might take a little bit of time, but he's going to be a productive player in the NHL. I just don't know if he can bring more to the table than all the players before him. Like, can you take James Higgins before Schaefer? Obviously not. Is Higgins better than Misa? No way. Is he better than Caleb Denoyer? That's possible, but Caleb Denoyer might give you so much more on the defensive side of the puck that even if Higgins has 10 points more in the season or something like that, well, Caleb Denoyer is still that much more valuable to your team. Porter Martone and James Higgins, I still prefer Porter Martone. And Jake O'Brien, I think he's a better passer than James Higgins. I don't think he has the same pace as James Higgins, but he's an even better passer. He's bigger. I think he's even more competitive, even though James Higgins is competitive. So I'm not sure I would take him before any one of the player I have in my top 5 right now. But number 6, it's okay considering what he's done before. It's not what he's done this season. It's more what he's done before. All right, so we jump to the next one, and the next one is Jackson Smith. Jackson Smith is a defenseman, left shot defenseman. Right here, just gonna add him. Uh, he's a product in development. You have to trust that your development team, or that it is gonna keep developing his game throughout the next few seasons. I don't think he's ready whatsoever. He's still in the phase of trying things out. But the potential, he's one of those players that has the potential to be a first pair defenseman in the NHL. Like it's not a sure shot. It's not like a Matthew Schaefer type of thing. But if there's one defenseman that has that potential because of the size, because of the high end skating, because of him trying to get better offensively, like trying different things in the offensive zone, being good defensively, being good against the rush, matching the attacker's speed. I think he's doing everything pretty well, and he's trying to develop more offense into his game. So even though it's going to take some time to round him up, like you, I personally, I had him before Higgins before I put all of this together, and I was like, I was hesitating a little bit between Jackson Smith and James Higgins, and I decided to put James Higgins first. But if somebody took Jackson Smith before Higgins, I would completely understand it. I think the potential is through the roof. It's just that he might also just be a top 4 player. So anyway, we'll see about that. At number 8, we have Anton Frondel. Finally, I'm just gonna tap it here. Like I was saying, Anton Frondel is somewhat of a two-way centerman, but he's more of a shooter than a playmaker, and I kind of prefer players that are playmakers. So there's that. One of the reasons why I have Caleb Denoyer in front of him, even though the production of Anton Frondel in the Allsvenskan right now is really, really good. It's like it's over players like William Nylander. It's close to Elias Pettersson and stuff like that. So the production is through the roof. His shot is basically elite, especially his one timer. His one timer is probably the best in the entire draft. It's just so heavy, so accurate, and yeah, just so good basically. But outside of that, like he's going to be able to finish at the net. He has very good hands in traffic. He does go and battle for puck and try to get body positioning, try to initiate contact on players to get them off balance and try to get the puck back. Um, he's not necessarily the best forechecker out there. I think Victor Eklund is a much better forechecker as I see it when they play together on the same line. But Anton Fraudel, the offensive potential with his shot is very high. So I think if you can have like if you can have a center that can play defensively and also have that kind of shot, it's really good. But there's also the fact that Anton Frandel might not be a center because he doesn't play like a regular center in the NHL. Most center are better playmakers than they are shooter, and Anton Frandel is definitely a much, much, much better shooter than a playmaker. He's not the passer on his line. He's not the distributor. He's not the one creating the plays. He's the guy who gets open and wait for the puck to come to him. So there's not too many centers like that in the NHL, but there is. So Frandel, number 8. And at number 9, we go with his line mate, Victor Eklund. Is basically my next video. My next scouting report is going to be Victor Eklund. So we're going to be able to talk about all the things that he does on the ice that really helps Anton Frandel score his goals. So yeah, I think you really deserve to be in the top 10. It's hard to fit all the players that I want in the top 10 into the top 10, but I think he deserves it because he's just so competitive. He has a lot of talent. He's a good playmaker, good passer. He's not like a thread the needle type of player like Jake O'Brien, but he's very good on the forechecks. He's really good at directing the play to the side that the team wants to play. Um, he's like he plays in the middle. He gets the puck through the board to the middle. He waits in front of the net, even though he would probably gain to like time. Time is placement in front of the net or in the stud instead of just going there and battle with other player. I think that the potential is really good because he does everything at a high level. Does he have anything that's high end outside of the compete level? That's the part that I'm not sure. When I did my card about him, there's a lot of 7.5s because I'm just not sure if is it above average or does it project to be high end. I'm not sure, but he's a very good passer, very good shooter, very good skater, extremely good competitor. He does everything really well. It's just I'm not sure if there's really one thing that really, really stands out. And at number 10, we have Roger McQueen. Obviously, the potential with Roger McQueen is through the roof. The thing is that the guy has a frame of, he's like a 6'5" frame, a guy who can skate. He's not like a great skater or anything like that, but he's at least better than the average of the player of that size. He has really, really good hands. He has a good shot. He goes to the net. He has power in his game. He can cut to the net with the puck. He can protect the puck. He can do a lot of things that players of 5'11" can do, right? And the fact that he has those hands in his 6'5" body is going to be very enticing for NHL teams. And he plays center position. So, yeah, that's why he still goes top 10. His production is a little bit iffy. Like he has 20 points in 17 games, 10 goals, 10 assists. Uh, Obviously he's coming back from a long injury, so this could affect his production overall. But we have to not forget that he's an older player, a bit like Victor Eklund. He's a October 2nd birthday, so like you would expect a little more. So I think he's dropping a little bit with the injury. The games that were good but were not spectacular, I think number 10 is okay because of the potential, but it's not. I don't think that he played necessarily like a top 10 player right now. All right, so we go to the next one, and the next one, I'm just gonna look at my screen here. Number 11, and it's first I gotta go here and add him to the list before I forget. And next on the list, it's going to be Lyndon Lakovic. It's a player for who I kind of fell in love, especially at the CHL versus USA player. Was it that? I think so. I think it was that game that I really, really liked him. And then I watched a ton of game of Lyndon Lakovic after that. Obviously, I watched him before that, and I liked the guy. But in that game, I was impressed by the size, the speed, the hands, and the competitiveness in that game. I don't think he has the same level of competitiveness in the WHL, but overall, the package, you get a 6'4" player who can really, really fly, has good hands, has a good shot, can really distribute the puck. Uh, like it's a very high ceiling, but because of the inconsistencies and the compete that's like sometimes it's on, sometimes it's off. Like he could be just a middle six player also. So it's not like he's a sure shot to be a first line or top six player, but he does have the frame, the skating, and the soft skills to get there. There's just more question mark maybe on the hockey sense part of thing, but we'll see how it goes. But for now, at number 11, we go with Lyndon Lakovic. And at number 12, we have Carter Bear. Obviously, some teams might make him fall a little bit because of the Achilles injury. Like players that had Achilles injuries, like Peyton Krebs, never became what everybody thought he was going to become. So it's not a good indication for Carter Bear. But if he falls a little bit, maybe he does. But I think as a player before the injury, he was a probably top 10 player, maybe top 12 player. Like I'm placing him at 12, so I think he's a top 12 player. But like it's just the combination of the elite compete and the passing and the hands and the okay skating and the shot and the drive to go to the net and drive to just elevate his teammate and go to the middle of the ice and create chaos. He's just all over the ice when you look at this player play. So personally, I think he's top 10 player, but look, I put him back a little bit because of the Achilles injury. I don't know how he's going to come out of it. So I put him back a little bit, but I can't put him more than that. I think he's too much of a good player for us to bring him back more than like top 12. All right. So Carter Bear, where is he? Carter Bear, number 35. What the? Anyway, let's go to the next one. And the next one is Justin Carbonneau. Obviously, Justin Carbonneau is a guy that was in my like top 10 basically all season. When I was doing my first top 16 in the summer, not a top 16 that I necessarily published, but when I was already building it, looking at games from last year, he was already a player that I really like. But he's another player from the in this draft that is on the older side. He's a November something birthday, so he's a late birthday, but the skills are through the roof with Justin Carbonneau. He has one of the best wrister in the entire draft. He's a very good skater, very powerful, can keep the puck, protect the puck, bring the puck to the middle, but he also has some bad habits with the puck or very junior style. He's gonna keep the puck way too long, he's gonna try to do everything on himself. Feels like a hero sometimes, but this needs to be adjusted. But a skill level is so high that the potential is really, really high. I think there's a chance that Justin Carbonneau becomes a first line type of player, but the more realistic projection is that he's going to be a second line type of player. So, but when you think about it, the guy is a guy with size. He has a good frame. He's not the strongest right now. I think he loses a lot of battle for the puck, but still, like he's still engaged in those battles. He's gonna need to learn to initiate contacts and do all the good stuff to win those battles. He's gonna need to learn to keep the puck less and distribute it, and maybe advance the play through give and goes or small passes and dart to the middle. So there's adjustment to be done, but the skill level on Justin Carbonneau is top 10 all day long. So that's why I had him top 10 pretty much all season. But as we get closer to the draft, there are players that deserve their spot in the top 10 maybe a little bit because Justin has a little bit more projection uncertainties, while other players are maybe a little bit more certain. All right. So that's about it for Justin Carbonneau. Let's add him to the list. We are now, it didn't work. Justin, add. Yes, number 13. All right, so let's go to the next one. And the next one is Cation Aitchison at number 14. A player that I really, really like. Another player that's on the older side. I think he's like even older. I think it's like September, something like that. Let's go see. Cation Aitchison. Yeah, it's a September 21st birthday. So he's like probably one of the oldest, if not the oldest player in the entire draft. He reached 25 goals this season. 26 goals, 59 points in 64 games. Obviously, the production is there, but like he's basically 1 year more developed than other players out there. But overall, he's just a player that he's the Truba style of player. Like he's very decisive, very violent in the way that he defends. Sometimes he will take himself out of position to lay a big hit, which is not necessarily the right thing to do. But like every player at this stage of the draft, they will need adjustment to like get better and get through the next step. So, but Cation HSN, when you take the skating, when you take the size, when you take the defense, the fact that he can move the puck forward, I don't think he distributes the puck that well in the offensive zone. I'm not sure if his shot is really like he's not going to be a 25 goal scoring in the NHL as a defenseman. That's just not going to happen. But even though I'm not sure how much the offense will translate to the NHL level, I think the defense will because of the skating, because of the positioning, because of the physicality of it. He's going to win his battles. He's going to be a punishing defenseman. When you come on his side, he's going to make you pay for it. If you want to get an entry with the possession, you're going to pay for it. If you want to go in a corner against him to get the puck on the forecheck, you're going to pay for it. So he's just that type of player. So I think he deserves his spot in the top 16, that's for sure. So we got him at number 14. And next we go with Braden Coots, a player that I love more and more. I didn't watch a ton at the beginning of the season. And I know some people were higher on him than I was. I think Elite Prospect had him like 12 or something like that for the longest time. I still had him high because I liked what I saw, but I didn't see the consistency. But the more games that I went back to watch, and the more I've seen consistency in the flashes of high end playmaking and high end compete. Not necessarily high end, like gotta calm down a little bit. But I think like he's a little bit undersized at 5'11", but he's a good skater, like very good skater. He has good hands. He plays in traffic. He's very competitive. He's a very good passer, very good shooter. He does basically everything good. It's not necessarily constant. He plays on a terrible team, but I think yeah, I think there's a good chance that he can be a middle six player, maybe even top six, because he does have the flash of a top six player, but the consistency is more of a middle six player. But the more I watch and the more I like. So we'll see how it goes as I keep watching games from the season. So let's go to number 16, the last player of the first half of the draft. And that player will be Radim Murka. I know a lot of people will have him higher than that because of the whole thing of the 6'6" frame. I think 6'6", 6'7". Let me go look at this. I don't remember. Radim Murka. Yeah, 6'6". So 6'6", almost 200 pounds. Obviously, that's a player that's going to be playing heavier than that. He's a right shot defenseman. The guy can skate. He doesn't have the best agility right out there, which is normal. He's still 17. He's a June birthday, as we can see here. And he's 6'6". So I don't know. I think that's normal. If you cannot turn on a dime, that's perfectly fine. If you cannot pivot and fluidly, I think that's perfectly fine. Those are all things that he will need to work on, but the fact that he will get more coordination as he gets older and as he grows into his body, that's going to help him. But on the defensive side of the thing, he has such a big reach. He can cover like half the ice in like one or two or three steps. He's just defensively is really, really good, and I think can move the puck efficiently too. I don't think he's going to be putting up a ton of points. Even in the, it's been better, obviously, in the WHL as it's been in Czechia, where he had like 1 point in 10 games. Now he has 35 and 43, which is much better. but I don't think he's going to be putting a lot of numbers in the NHL anyway. That's not the type of player that he is, but he's the type of player that's going to be defending really, really well. And it's going to be just very valuable. He's the type of player that offense on this side of the ice is going to be very complicated. So that's valuable whether we want it or not. So Radim Merka at number 16. I didn't put him down yet. Where is he? Radim Merka. Right here. And next at 17, I have Brady Martin, which is a player that I like more and more every time that I watch because I like the fact that he does have skills. He does have creativity in the way that he creates offense, but he's also like kind of a grinder. He's a guy that is just getting under everybody's skin. He's very physical. He's very in your face as a player. He's a center with no, it doesn't have a big frame. He's like 6 foot or 6'1" maybe, and he's like 170 pounds, something around that. So nothing like big or anything like that. But he plays much bigger than he is. He does lays a lot of big hits in the OHL. And like I said, he's a center that also has playmaking element to his game, that also has creativity in his game, that has hands, that has a lot of element to bring offense at the NHL level. Is he going to be like a play driving center in the NHL? Probably not. But I think like if you develop well, you get that guy in your middle six. Maybe he's a third line. Maybe he can jump to the second line. But if you get a player like that that has that type of soft skills mixed with the physicality and just the grindiness of his game, I think it's an amazing third line center. I would really, really love him on the Habs because of that. Because I think our option of third line centers are like players like Owen Beck and players like Oliver Kapanen. And while they're probably good options, a player like Brady Martin just bring like that little edge that I like in players, and he does have more offense than those two players anyway. So maybe he's even better than a third line center. But I mean, in the worst case scenario where he's a third line center, well, he does have that little edge over other players that are more not soft, but less edgy. Let's say. I don't know what the words are. So where is he? I have to find him. Where are you? Brady Martin, right here. So now number 17. And at number 18, we follow this up with a defenseman that should probably be higher than that, but that's Cameron Reed. Uh, like he's average in size, but he's a good skater. He's a player with good IQ, good offense, good defense. He's competitive. But the fact that he's average size or under average size, bring him back a little bit. He's also a left shot, so he's not a right shot. So you get an average size left shot D who has good offense, good defense, good compete. He does a little bit of everything well without being like dynamic in any facet of the game, if you will. So I like him. I think it's a good choice when you like at 18. It's really good to get a player like that. It's just not a player that I think I would take in the first half of the first round. But there's a lot of people who have him that high, and I understand why. Because when you look at him, he has some dynamism into his offensive game, and he's a very hard competitor. So there's a chance he's more than what I think, but I think the risk of a player like that at 6 foot, I don't know. So I think number 18. That's what I gotta say about him. All right. Where is he? He's right here. Next one, Logan Ensler. I debated between Logan Ensler and Cameron Reed, like who to put first. Like I think Cameron Reed definitely has more offense into his game. He definitely has more of a dynamic skill set when it comes, at least after the offensive blue line. When it comes to defense and skating, I like Logan Ensler is just a very, very good skater. He had the first half of the season was rough. I don't remember in which video I said that, but I was asking myself what what type of player he was going to be in the NHL. What was he going to be? And I didn't have an answer for that. But now, after in the second half of the season, he's way more assertive defensively. He transports the puck. He uses skating a lot more. He keeps his feet moving when he's transitioning the puck. He's much better at selling when on retrievals, like faking something on retrieval, so he doesn't get not get hammered, but he doesn't like get pushed onto one side. Like he can fake going left, and then he goes right with the puck, and then he starts to transition with a clean breakout. He just got a lot better throughout the season, but Cameron Reed was just better all season. So, so we have Cameron Reed first and Logan Ensler after at number 19. And now I have to find him here. He's right there, number 9 in the rank. Okay. And after that, we have a package of little little players. Like if we take players like Colin Potter, whatever, Benjamin Kindle, was the name of the very, very small one, Cameron Schmidt or Cole Reshney. They're all players that have skills to be higher than that on the draft board. But there are also players that are on the very smaller side, especially Schmidt. Like he's 5'8" or 5'7" or something like that. There's not a lot of those players in the NHL. There's Cole Caulfield, there's Stankoven, and that's it. Maybe there's some other, but they don't come to my mind right now. So not a lot of those players make it to the NHL. At 5'10", players like Colin Potter and Benjamin Kindle have more chance. There's more players in that type of size. And I think especially Colin Potter is just so dynamic as a player. I think his offense is like through the roof. But it's just a question like, can he make it? Can he work to the physicality of the NHL? At 5'10". It's always a question on my mind when I see players that are under 5'11". Like at 5'11", I start to be comfortable, but under that, that's where I start to be a little bit uncomfortable, even though they have high end skill. So Colin Potter and Benjamin Kindle kind of fit into that mode of the very, very skilled player with ton of offense, very good habits, but that are on the smaller sides and need like just not sure about the projection, right? So I have Colin Potter at number 20 and I have Benjamin Kindle at number 21. So I'm just going to put them down right away. Colin Potter and mm, ooh, Colin Potter and Benjamin Kindle. Benjamin Kindle. Where is he? Benjamin Kindle. Benjamin Kindle. All right, right there. Ben Kindle. There you go. It's done. Next, we jump to Malcolm Spence. Completely different player. Not a player with necessarily a ton of offense. I think he had a pretty good season. I'm not sure exactly what the stats are, so let's go see. Is that a Malcolm Spence? Oops. Malcolm. Oh, I forgot an L. Malcolm Spence. There you go. All right. So production 73 points in 65 games, including 32 goals. So that's really good production. He's another player that's on the older side. If we look at his birthday, September 22. So what was the other one? September 21st, something like that. So just a couple of days away from the cutoff. Well, same thing for Malcolm Spence on the older side, but he's a very, very competitive player. Like he's gonna have some secondary offense. He makes me think a little bit of a player like what's his name from last year, Brandsegg Nygaard. I don't think he's as good at Brandsegg Nygaard. I think Brandsegg Nygaard had more understanding on how to get open, how to create offense, while also being very physical and very responsible defensively. I think Malcolm Spence is a little bit in the same mold, just probably not as good offensively. I think probably. Next one, after Malcolm Spence, we have Jack Murtagh, a center man for the USNTDP juniors USNTDP, whatever. Good player. I think he has skills. I think he can skate really well. Uh, he does have a little bit of everything, and he's also one of those players that just works hard competes hard on every shift. He's very I would say that very consistent in the way that he plays. I think he projects more as a like two-way centerman than an offensive centerman. I think more like a third line centerman or something like that is more like the realistic projection for Jack Murtagh. But he has a he's decent shot. He has a hard shot, not just decent. He has a hard shot. He's a decent passer. He skates really well. He's physical. He competes. He initiates contact to get the puck first, to get body positioning, goes in front of the net. He does everything that he needs to do to be a successful player at the NHL level. I just think that the the skill level is just not probably high enough to be a top six player. I think he's gonna do all the good things, but in a third line role, if that makes sense. All right. And next one after that, it's gonna be Joshua Ravensbergen. And we're just gonna add him right away. And as I was building this list, I kept putting him down. Because honestly, at the beginning of the season, I watched a couple games that I liked. I had him higher than that. And then after that, the other games that I've seen of him, I didn't like it that much. Like not even not that much. I just didn't like it at all. Sometimes some games were better where he was really squared with the shot, and he had like obviously this guy is he's a 6'5", 6'5" goalie, so he has the athleticism. He can really push from one side to the other. He can move quickly. He's a good skater for a goaltender of his size. So I think he's going to be picked high enough because of the athleticism, but not necessarily because of the way he played in this season. I think there's some good element in his game, but he hasn't been consistent. He hasn't been great. But the athleticism, the 6'5" frame, mixed with the skating, mixed with the tracking, it's gonna make him a pretty high like draft pick. Is he gonna be a first round draft pick? That's the part that I don't know. I don't know if teams are willing to put a first round draft pick on Joshua Ravensbergen, but maybe a team that has a couple draft pick would do it. I don't know. Anyways, to the next one, and the next one is Cole Reshny, and we're gonna do the same thing. Like it's two small players, so it's Cole Reshny and Cameron Schmidt. Uh, Personally, I think Cameron Schmidt has like top 12, maybe even top 10 talent in this draft. He's really, really, really dynamic. He has a great shot. He skates really well. There's not a ton of player in this draft that can full defense the way that he can on the transition, the way he uses his crossover to mix defenders. It's He's really dynamic. I don't know how else to put it. Like when I do my videos, I put bullet points so like this I can like keep talking without thinking too much. But when I'm recording and trying to think about how a player plays at the same time, I get like all mixed up and then I can't say anything. So, so anyway, Cameron Schmidt he's a very, very dynamic player. He has very good hands, very good shot, very fast, very good in transition. And he's super, super competitive, but he's a 5'8" player. So, like I said, there's only like one or two or maybe three players like that in the NHL. So it's hard to put him higher than that. I know a lot of people have him higher, at least in the first half of the draft. Some people have him top 10. And I understand it. I really understand that he has the top 10 type level of talent. It's just, I don't know if you can, like, including the risk in the projection, I don't know if we can really put him top 10. So that's why I have him at number 26 and Cole Reshny at number 25. Now we have to find them in this list. Cole Reshny right here. And Cameron Schmidt right here. But let me say something. If you get a player like Cameron Schmidt in the second round or by the end of the first round, you're getting a player with a ton of offensive potential. You're getting basically a mix of Cole Caulfield and Stankoven. I don't think, in terms of skill, like the shooting skills and the hands, I don't think he's even close to Cole Caulfield. Cole Caulfield was special, but like he does have the competitiveness or close to the competitiveness of Logan Stankoven. So he's really like a mix of both. Um, So you're getting a player with special type of talent later in the draft, but it's the type of player that you can have one on your team. Like in the Montreal Canadiens, they cannot have another Cole Caulfield on the team. One is enough. Like he's a very good player. Everybody loves him. Every fan is in love with Cole Caulfield, and I'm sure in Carolina it's gonna be the same if Stankoven can put it together and become like a 30, 35 goal scoring winger or whatever. But like you cannot have too many of them. Like one. One is enough. All right. That's what I'm saying. So did I put them down? Let me look. Yeah. Koreshny, Cameron Schmidt, 25 and 26. So at number 27, we have Henry Brustevics, and he's the type of player where I think you can take a bet on later in the draft. He's a right shot defenseman with decent frame at 6'1". He's like 195 pounds or something around that. And he does everything pretty well. Like he's not the best defender. He's not the best player to move the puck forward. He's not the best player in the offensive zone, but he does everything at a decent level. And you can never bet against the London Knights. Obviously, that's the team that can really develop a player and make him better at the position that he plays. So I think like at 27, it really makes sense. I wouldn't take him higher than that. I don't think so. I'm not sure. We'll see. But for now, where I am, from what I've seen, I think it makes sense to take him later in the first round. I don't think he should drop later than the first round. Personally, I don't think he's a second round type of guy. I think he has first round talent. But given the fact that he has to refine a good portion of his game, I would say 27 kind of makes sense. And now we have to find him somewhere in this list. Where is Bruce Devix? Right here, 71. Jeez. Okay, next one. At number 28, it's Ivan Ryabkin. I don't know what to say about him anymore. Sometimes this season I watched him and I liked what I saw. Most of the time I watch and I did not like what he does. So it's hard to say, but a bit like James Higgins, he has the pedigree of a very, very good player. And now since he switched to the USHL, I think he's even more than a point per game in the USHL, if I'm not mistaken. Let's go see that. But um Ivan Ivan Ryabkin. Pretty sure it's over a point per game. He's scoring goals and stuff. Yeah, 24 games played, 25 points, 16 goals. That's basically who he is now. Like last year, he looked like a player that was creating plays for other. He looked like the playmaker, the play driver on his line, the guy that teammates had problem following because he was like too quick in his decision making, just too smart for the players for who he was playing with in a league that's not really that organized. Not like the USHL is very organized either, but now he's like the finisher. So I think he's working on another skill, but I don't know. Like sometimes I liked him, sometimes I didn't really like him. I think he's lacking the pace. The decision making is questionable. Sometimes he takes himself out of the game for absolutely no reason. I don't know. I think he's a decent bet at the end of the first round because of the pedigree, because of the skills that we've seen for years. And now we know he can finish. We know he can make plays, but like, what is he gonna become? It's such a question mark. I have no clue personally at this point in the evaluation. But I would still take him towards the end of the first round. I would not take him in the first half. I would not take him in the 20s. But I think after that, it's okay. It's fair game for him. And at number 29, we have Blake Fiddler, who's a defenseman that has size. It's a defenseman that skates well for his size, defends well for his size. He doesn't have that much offense, even though he tries. Uh, I'm not his biggest fan, but I understand the package. Like the guy's 6'4", 210 pounds or something like that, and he's solid with the puck and he's solid away from the puck. So there's something to work with. Is he like personally? If you take Blake Fiddler or um, players from last year, like Adam Kleber. Which one I prefer? I prefer Kleber from last year, and Kleber was taking like 39th or 40th or something like that. So, and same thing for Harrison Brunicky. Do I take Blake Fiddler in the first round this year or Harrison Brunicky in the second round last year? I'd rather have Brunicky too. So, it's a good bet. You have a lot to work with, given the size and the frame, and the fact that he can defend, and the fact that he can move the puck and that he can skate. But I don't think he's going to give you that much. But that's the thing with this draft. At this point in the draft, you're either taking a big swing and hoping a player like Nastras will become a top six player, like a 6'5", top six player who can fly, or you take swing on players like Cameron Schmidt or Ivan Ryabkin and something like that, or you take role players like Blake Fiddler, or you take a player like Vanzaghi, which we're gonna come to. Anyway, I'm getting off track a little bit. Anyway, after Blake Fiddler at number 30, I have William Moore, but I have to put Blake Fiddler first. I have to put him down. Didn't work. Let's go. All right, so Blake Fiddler at number 29. After that, it's William Moore. William Moore, it's another kind of good bet. William Moore is a guy that has a lot of skills. He has a lot of soft skills. He's a very good playmaker, very good handling with the puck. When he has the puck on his stick, he's really good with it. He can fly on the ice. He has a lot of offensive tools. Um, Defensively, it's a work in progress if there's progress. And physically, he's very far from being able to handle any kind of pro hockey. That's basically the way I see it. Like there's definitely some potential with that guy. We've seen potential with Wilmore for a long time now, but like I said, the physical part of it is what really slows me down a little bit on him. Is the fact that I don't think he can handle any kind of physicality. He cannot work through traffic. He cannot work through contacts. And if you can't do that in the USHL, it's going to be really hard to do in the NCAA. It's going to be really hard to do in the AHL. It's going to be really hard to do in the NHL. Every step of the way, it's going to get bigger, stronger, faster, more assertive. So I think it's going to be a problem. But I think that when you get at number 30, you don't have a ton of choice. And a guy like William Moore is a decent bet. You have to think that he's gonna stay in college for a long time. He's gonna train in the gym, and he's gonna get stronger, gonna build on that frame because he's still a 6'2" guy, but he's a 6'2" at like 160 pounds. He's like what's his name from last year that I really really liked. My God, I always have blank like that. But Trevor Connolly, like Trevor Connolly last year, like he's not on the same level in terms of skills. Obviously not. And Trevor Connolly was lights out in terms of skills, but he has same type of package. A guy that has decent size, and the fact that like Trevor Connolly was 6'1", William Moore is more like 6'2", I think. They both can skate. They both have handling skills. They both can shoot. Can both do plays or pass the puck. Obviously, Connolly at a different level, but William Moore is a good player offensively. He has good tools to work with, but they were both like 160 pounds, something like that, and completely overwhelmed by the physicality of things. Even though Connolly was probably a bit more competitive in the way he was trying to make things happen, and even this year in the NCAA. So we'll see with William Moore, but decent bet. Just it's not a sure thing. It's going to be hard to get there, but there's a way that he can get there. And next, after William Moore, did I even put him? Did I put him? Wait a second. Yeah, William Moore. I already put him. And next after that is Mr. Shane Benzaghi. Completely different player. He's already in the NCAA. He already put okay numbers. Like if we go here, good Shane Benzaghi. I like this guy for a couple years now. 6'2", 216. Obviously, he can handle the physicality of the pro game right now, probably. So 16 points in 37 games playing for Michigan State. Obviously, it's not great production. That's basically how we could say that. It's not great, but like he has a good shot. His skating has become better, but it's not great. I don't think it will ever be great, but maybe he can bring it to maybe a little bit under average in the NHL instead of extremely under average in the NHL. And that's going to be a problem. For him to reach the NHL, he's going to have to bring his skating to a different level. He's going to have to make plays in stride. He's going to have to just have a better pace. But I think that in the worst case scenario, you get a player that's going to be a fourth liner, that's going to be very physical. They can also finish plays in the NHL. I think that's like a obviously it's not a worst case because the worst case is he doesn't play. But I mean, in the NHL, the worst case scenario is probably that, and he has the toolkit, he has the frame, he has the mentality for it. Now, can he bring more than that? I think that he can. That's why I have him at the end of my first round. I think he has enough skills to have more offense than that, bring secondary offense, including the physicality, and play in the traffic and create chaos in the interior of the ice, the middle third. And yeah, I just like him. I like him. He's physical. He can play offense. And I just don't know if it's gonna translate that well. And he's gonna need to work on that skating. That's imperative. If it doesn't move up, then he doesn't move up either. But anyway, Shane Vinzaghi at number 31. And the last one in the first round. And honestly, I didn't know who to put. I had three players that I wanted to put there. I had Nathan Bem, I had Vaclav Nestrasil, and I had Jack Nisbet. They're both different players. I think Nathan Bem is the more, how can I say that? He's a guy that can shoot the puck really, really well. So I put him at the number 32 and put the other one like in honorable mentions. But every time that I think about that question, I feel like probably Vaclav Nestrasil should be the player at number 32. I think the ceiling is the highest. I think he has the skating and he has the size for it. But Nathan Bem also is a guy that has decent size. He's like 6'2", if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. He can really, really shoot the puck. I'm not sure if his game really translates to the NHL. We'll have to see about it. It's going to have to change some habits. But, I mean, the potential is there. That he can be a secondary scorer in the middle six role in the NHL. But Vaclav Nestrasil, as a 6'5", 190 pounds guy who can fly, he didn't put a lot of big numbers in the USHL either. Like, he's not even a point per game, if I'm not mistaken. Let's just go see Vaclav Nestrasil. Like this. Yeah, you see, most people don't even have. Yeah, elite prospect 32, dauber prospect 30. Everything else is a little bit like more in the second round. But yeah, so he has 40 points in 57 games. But when you watch him play, you're like, yeah, it should be more than that. That's basically it. It's just the production doesn't really match what you see on the ice. He's often dominant on the ice. Obviously, there's a long way to go, but yeah, it's basically you pick and choose what you want. You want the sniper, you take Nathan Bem. You want the guy that has two-way center type of projection in the NHL, you take Jack Nisbet. You want the guy that has the ceiling, that can fly, that has size, you take Vaclav Nestrasil. So at this point, you just pick and choose whatever you prefer. All right. So that's about it for the ranking of the top 32 for the 2025 draft. That's it. I have nothing else to say, nothing else to add. I don't know if maybe I'm gonna do one every month until the draft, because it's gonna be changing as I'm gonna be watching even more games. Maybe some players are gonna jump into the top 32. Maybe some are gonna fall. We'll see. I don't know if I'm gonna do it every month, but it's what I put in my like planning planning notes is one every month. So we'll see about it. But anyways, hope you enjoyed. And as always, thank you for watching or listening, wherever you are, which platform you're using. And see you in the next one. Peace.